Chapter 50. And Joseph fell upon his father's face, and wept upon him, and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. And the physicians embalmed Israel. And 40 days were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the days of embalming. And the Egyptians wept for him 60 days. And when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke unto the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, speak, I pray you, in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die. In my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray you, and bury my father, and I will come back. And Pharaoh said, Go up, and bury your father, according as he made you swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house, only their little ones, and their flocks, and their herds, they left in the land of Goshen. For there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, and there they wailed with a great and sore wailing. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanite, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians, wherefore the name of it was called Abel Mitzrayim, which is beyond the Jordan. And his sons did unto him according as he commanded them. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field, for a possession of a burying place of Ephron the Hittite, in front of Mamre. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father, after he had buried his father. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, It may be that Joseph will hate us, and will fully requite us of all the evil which we did unto him. And they sent a message unto Joseph, saying, Your father did command before he died, saying, So shalt you say unto Joseph, Forgive, I pray you now, the transgression of your brethren, and their sin, for they did unto you evil. And now we pray you, forgive the transgression of your servants, of the God of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke unto him. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we are your bondmen. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for am I in the place of God? And as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now therefore fear you not, I will sustain you, and your little ones. And he comforted them, and spoke kindly unto them. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the 3rd generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born upon Joseph's knees. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, but God will surely remember you, and bring you up out of this land, unto the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely remember you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. All right, let's go back up in verse 1. In the last chapter, Jacob had died. He had called all of his sons before him, and had blessed them, each one in their particular blessing, you might say, according to the blessing he's seen what would become of them. This would be the end of them, according, if one stays in the current direction that they're heading. Often this would be the case, but every man has the ability to turn or change the path he's on, and we can take a word or what might not be such a good thing and turn it around. Or sometimes we can take a good thing and turn it around as well. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. And Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept upon him and kissed him. So Jacob has given up the ghost, and Joseph is going to fall on his father's face and begin to weep, and he kisses him. But we'll find he is no longer present there. What remains is the shell, or the skin, or that which he did inhabit. But Jacob has left that particular place too, and Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel. So now Joseph, he's the one that's going to add to. He commands his servants, and that's those that serve him, to the physicians. The physicians is a rapha. It means to heal, to kind of make well, or to, in this case, preserve his father. That's the one he come forth from. And those ones of Egypt, those physicians there, did preserve Israel. 3, and the 40 days were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the days of embalming. And the Egyptians wept for him 60 days. So 40 days are fulfilled. That's completed, because that's how long it takes to embalm or to preserve. We'll find out the body in this case, or that 40 is always 4 tens. 4 tens is simple. It's going to be now the work of God in the law, even in the understandings, are fulfilled in this preservation, or this process, the understandings even of preserving the body. And the Egyptians wept for 60 days. This is going to be a period of weeping, or this period of mourning. The Egyptians are those that inhabit that place of the crypt, or that's basically the grave. That's kind of what they did. That was actually their thing. It was all about dying, and each man getting his own interpretation, or possibly even that path that's going to lead to the afterlife. But they weep for him this 60 days. 60 is not, that's 320s. 320s is not the way it would be written. It would be written as 610s. It's been translated. 610s is always going to be man working there in the law. And when we add the law, that 10 days, even in its understandings, we'll get 7 tens, and that's to be to finish it. 4, and when the days of weeping for him were past, Joseph spoke unto the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, speak, I pray you, in the ears of Pharaoh, saying. So when the days of weeping, that 70 days, had passed, Joseph, the one it's going to add to, says unto the house of Pharaoh. Pharaoh's the great house, represents all the power of the land. If I found favor in your eyes, if these things that you've seen pleases you, then I pray in the ears of Pharaoh, saying, this is what he says, 5, My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die in my grave, which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan. There shall you bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray you, and bury my father, and I will come back. So he's requiring permission of the great house, or Pharaoh, to go up and bury his father in Canaan. That's that land of humility. and because he swore to his father, or made a promise, a vow, that he should bury him there. And now he's asking if Pharaoh will let him go up, and he told him he would come back. 6, and Pharaoh said, "Go up, bury your father, according as he made you swear." So Pharaoh gives him permission. He grants him his wish. He is to go up and bury his father, just like he has spoken. 7, Joseph went up to bury his father. With him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt. So now Joseph goes up, or returns back to the land of Canaan to bury his father, the one he come forth from, Jacob. With him went all the servants of Pharaoh, these that would do what Pharaoh would ask them to do. These that served Pharaoh were part of the great house. These elders of his house, that would be those that were in charge over various things. All the elders of the land of Egypt. And all those will find out that probably knew Joseph. These ones that were in the land, greater in the land, even that place of Egypt. 8, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. All the house of Joseph, that's his children, his brethren, all those of similar understanding, and his father's house, that's all that were remained of his servants and such. Only their little ones, that's their children, their flocks are the ones they tended over, and their herds were the many different flocks that they would have. They left in the land of Goshen. That's that drawing near. 9, and there went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very great company. So there's a very great company. That's a large number of people having both chariots. Chariots, a war machine. The chariots kind of represents a judgment. And horsemen are these ones who sit on these beasts, and they try to control the strengths of it. A horse represents great strength. It was a very great company. There's a large number of mighty people, you might say. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan. And there they wailed with a great and sore wailing. And he made a mourning for his father for 7 days. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad. Atad means to pierce quickly, to quicken even. The threshing floor is a place to separate. It's where the shaft is separated from the grain, or that part that's not going to be used is separated from that part that's going to be used. There they made that great wailing, a mourning for his father, this one he come forth from, for 7 days. It's going to be to complete the understandings, and we'll find out. Book of Yasher gives a little bit of knowledge, a little something that happened here. 11. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanite, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, "This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians." Wherefore the name of it was called Abel Mishraim, which is beyond the Jordan. Now when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanite, that's those of humility, those of humbleness, they seen this mourning, this wailing that was going on the floor of Atad, that place that quickens. It's kind of right there where the two pieces are divided. They said, "This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians." This is a great mourning to the Egyptians, a crying out of those in that place of graves. That's why they called the name of it it was called Abel Mishraim, and Abel is a field or a meadow. A Mishraim it means a great dwelling of the Egyptians, which is beyond, and this is a place that's beyond the Jordan. Jordan is a river that descends in, literally it's the river that descends is what it means, and that those waters that descend down, even in understanding. 12. And his sons did unto him according as he commanded them. But his sons did just what Yaakov had asked him to do. We'll find out it was about Yaakov. Of course, the Canaanite thought it was something to do with the Egyptians. It wasn't. 13. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field, for a possession of a burying place of Ephron the Hittite in the front of Mamre. But his sons, they carried him down into the land of Canaan. That's the place of humility where they was come from. And they buried him there in that cave of Machpelah. Machpelah, that's that place where it's folded up, it's doubled. It's in the open land around Machpelah, that field of Machpelah, and the cave is a hole in the earth, and it's the place which Abraham bought with the field for a possession. It's for a burying place. It belongs to him. He bought it from Ephron. Ephron is the dusty, kind of like dust, the Hittite, and one of terror. And Mamre is that place of vigor, strength, you might say, in a desirable way, in a desiring way, or a 14. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father after he had buried his father. So Joseph returns to Egypt with his brethren. Joseph's the one that's going to add to. They go back into the place of crypts, him and his brethren, those of similar understanding, after they have buried his father. 15. And Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead. They said, it may be that Joseph will hate us, and will fully requite us all the evil which we did unto him. So now when Joseph's brethren, that's all the other sons of Yaakov, those of a similar understanding as Joseph, sees that their father was dead, they think Joseph's going to hate them or try to take some kind of revenge on them for what they did. 16. And they sent a message unto Joseph, saying, Your father did command before he died, saying. So they sent a message, a messenger, you might say, saying, Your father commanded before he died. Of course, we don't have the recording of this. But nonetheless, for I forgive, I pray you now, the transgression of your brothers and their sin. So they're saying now the one that Joseph has come forth from, his father says now he's supposed to forgive them of their sins, of this which they do wrong, of that which they've done, their transgression, that trespass they've committed. For they had done evil, they had done wickedness unto Joseph, and now we pray, forgive the transgression of your servants, of the God of your father, these ones that serve the Elohim, these powers, this might of creation, this God of your father, the one you come forth from. And Joseph wept when they spoke unto him. So Joseph's going to weep, he's going to cry when they say these things. 18. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we are your bondmen. So now his brothers, these are those of a similar understanding, are going to come and fall down before his face. It's going to be made plain and right in front of him, you might say. And they said, "Behold, we are your bondmen. We are bondmen we'll find out, trying to place themselves under this bondship." Bondman is somebody who's got to pay a debt. Bondman is somebody that owes something to somebody else. When you make yourself a bondman, you owe a debt. 19, and Joseph said unto them, "Fear not, for am I in the place of God?" And Joseph, now one it's going to add to, says, "Fear not." What are you afraid of? First of all, am I in the place of God? He is not God. He cannot forgive sin. Only God can, and we'll find out if Joseph would have wanted revenge, he would have long such had it. 20. And as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. But as for you, you meant evil. You meant to do bad against me. But we'll find Joseph has attributed it all to the Lord, to Hashem. But he meant it for good. He controls everybody's heart, and the way Joseph sees it, this is the way it was supposed to be. It was to bring to pass, as it is this day, and the understanding, to save much people alive, to preserve life, you might say. 21. Now, therefore, fear you not. I will sustain you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly unto them. Now, therefore, fear you not. He says, have no fear. I will sustain you and your little ones. And because Joseph sees now that they don't have a greater understanding, that they're kind of bound up a little bit. And he says, I will sustain you and your little ones, because their worry was only of their flesh and the well-being of that. And he comforts them, and he speaks kindly to them. 22. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house, and Joseph lived 110 years. So now, Joseph dwells in Egypt. He remains in that place, he and his father's house. Joseph lives 110 years. That's going to be the span of his life. 100 is going to be judgment. 10 is always the law. Years are going to be the sum of many days and greater understandings of the total lesson. 23. Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children also of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born upon Joseph's knees. So Joseph sees Ephraim's children. That's those that are fruitful, they bearing more than one fruit. Those that come forth from Joseph. This even into the third generation. The third generation would be to complete, even or to witness it, to make it, to strengthen it. These generations will find out, even that's in Egypt. The children also of Machir. Machir was born from Manasseh. Machir means the seller, or the one that sells. He's a masculine that come forth from Manasseh. Manasseh is the one that causes to forget. They were born on Joseph's knees or during his lifespan. Knees, always that which you're going to bend. We'll find out it's that portion of ebb and flow. 24. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, but God will surely remember you and bring you up out of this land into the land which he swore to Abraham, to Ishmael, and to Jacob. Joseph says unto his brethren, I die. I'm going to die. But God will surely remember you and bring you up out of this land. It's not going to be during his life. we'll find out. It will be the fourth generation, just like it was spoken, which he swore to Abraham. That's the father of many nations, to Ishiach. He's the one that laughs. To Jacob, and to Jacob the supplanter. He was the one who took up even that which wasn't his. 25. Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely remember you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. So Joseph takes an oath, and that's to make a contract, so to speak, with the children of Israel. That's those that come forth from Israel, that the one who contends with the mighty one, and the man himself, saying, God will surely remember you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. So when they leave, Joseph is asking them to take his bones with them. That's that essence that's within, you might say. That's what it kind of represents, the structure. 26. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. So Joseph dies. He gives up the ghost. He breathes out. He's 110 years old. 100 is going to be, we'll see the judgments in the law would be the greater understandings in his age or in his lifespan. And they embalm Joseph. They preserve him. You might say keep him around. And he's put in a coffin in Egypt. A coffin is a box. It's kind of like the ark. It's kind of like any other box. It's going to hold something. We'll find out here. It's going to be the remains of Joseph in Egypt. That's in that place of graves. We're going to finish Genesis and move forward to Exodus. Turn and return.